Hey, what's up guys, DiplexHeated here again. Welcome back to Maneuver War Assault Squad 2 and Rob's Realism mod. Super excited to be back here with another battle. And today we will witness as the Germans try and defend this railway bridge leading into Germany. The Russians will be attacking. And of course, since this is a railway bridge, the Russians rather, will be bringing in an armored locomotive packed with guns and troops. So I'm super excited to see an armored gun train on the Russian side of things enter the fight today. We've seen a German armored train before. It was very cool, had lots of cool guns. I think it used Panzer IV turrets. The Russian train will be using T-34 turrets, and they have like an AA gun and a howitzer on a gun platform further back as well, so that's going to be really cool. The Russians will be attacking in waves before the train can actually arrive, because if it arrives too early, it's going to get punked, man. Look at all these packs and mortars and shit. So it's going to arrive towards the end of the fight, but the German defenses should still be very much active, at least on the other side of the river here. And tanks will be used, infantry will be used, and keep in mind, I have no idea who's going to win this fight. It's going to be extremely even, and that's the only way we can have an uncertain result, and I think everyone enjoys that the most. So before we click start, let's go through what the Germans have, then we'll quickly talk about what the Russians will attack with, and then we'll click start and we'll have a very enjoyable Saturday night fight. And if you're in Europe like myself, this is going to be a Sunday morning video. It's been very delayed today because I've been busy sorting a few other things out, but I might keep this upload time like 3 in the morning for European time, which should be like 6 p.m. and 9 p.m. US time. So, yeah, depending on obviously where you are. Earlier, the more west you are, and later, the closer to Europe you are. So, at the front, we have, of course, the front pack defense with plenty of infantry. These are SS soldiers, and they're not only any SS soldiers. They're the soldiers from the Prince Eugen division. They're mountain soldiers, mountain troops. Gebirgsjäger, I believe is the correct German word for it. And they have some interesting machine guns and other weapons. So that is very cool. This is the center. On the right flank, we have a 37 millimeter gun, I believe. Could be a 2 centimeter. I think that's actually a 20 mil, not a 37 mil. It's not a Schneider. This is, to be exact, it is a 3.7. Cool. Flank 36, plenty of infantry. That is going to be the same for the left flank, except they have an MG42 and a mortar here as well. So that's pretty cool. Further back here towards the center, we have in the center, we have another 2 pack 40s and more infantry. These are 75 mil packs, capable of handling pretty much any Russian armor at this stage of the war. On this side, we have a Flak 88 and more infantry and an MG42. And over on the right side of the center here, we have a Hummel, some motorized or mechanized infantry, and a half track with an MG on it. So that's a little more heavier artillery, but not worse, but less anti-infantry over on this side, whereas you have a better AT and anti-infantry support over here. So that's more on the howitzer side of things, or artillery rather. Then towards the back left, we have another 37 mil flak. Quad flak and plenty of infantry. Center back, there's really nothing. There's more of this railroad. And then over here we have a Tiger and more MG42s. So pretty excited to see how this defense is going to go down. It's very mixed. The Russians will be attacking with over 500 men, probably over a dozen tanks of various shapes and kinds, and an armored train. So I think I've spoken enough now. Let's click start, and let's enjoy the first wave here of this Russian attack. We're going to see infantry running out first, scouts. The Germans know the Russians are coming, and the Russians sure know that the Germans know that they're coming, so they're not trying to be all too sneaky about this. Jeez, you hear all that bullet whizzes and impact? It sounds fantastic. We have some Russian light tanks, the T-80. Not to be confused with the modern T-80 tank, but these were sort of a later version of the T-70, which was a very popular tank at that time. They produced a few hundred of these towards the end of 1943, I think, when they then stopped producing them, and they weren't deployed in any larger numbers. But an upgraded variant to T-70 with better armor and a better turret as well. Anyway, they're moving up here to support the first infantry attack. Look at all that. Looks like all 4 lighter tanks have been destroyed now by the enemy defenses. But they've caused some damage, though. We do see German casualties on this side. So I won't really be controlling any sides today in terms of... And I mean controlling. However, sending a soldier to crew a gun or to move a train or something like that is not really controlling a faction. That would be me constantly controlling one side. No. I will do minor adjustments if needed to improve the overall experience. So I believe most of the Russian infantry that charged in has been killed. Alright, now we can see some more armor rolling up. Was everyone else really killed? Yeah. That slight lag says next wave coming in. And we have a lot of Russian soldiers charging. It's hard to see since we don't have any HUD on and the minimap is gone. But you can see from side to side there's a wave of Russian infantry coming in. How's the German defenses looking? None of the packs have been disabled yet. Actually, has this one lost its... Yes, this one is not combat functional. So that's good for the Russians attacking. This pack has also taken some damage to its sort of shield, and the overall placement of the gun has been a little skewed, so to speak. So that is going to mess up their aiming a little bit. Back here, these packs look healthy. And overall, the frontline defense looks pretty good. MG gunner down here, mortar still active, and infantry doing their best to put as much fire on the Russians as possible. It's kind of really cool here and honorable for the Germans up at the front here to really try and hold this bridge. They cannot let the Russians capture it. It would be disastrous indeed. T-34-85 has gone up to the side here. Must have taken a pretty nasty hit there from the Tiger. Presumably. I would say that this would indeed be the Tiger responsible for a lot of the armored casualties on this side of the river. We have another T-34 moving up. And this late war tank, or whatever you want to call it, equipped with an 85mm gun, is very, very capable of knocking out a Tiger. And we've seen that in a previous video, which was the Volkssturm video, where we had the German city combat there, which was very, very cool. And we did see one of these tanks take out the Tiger towards the end, so pretty nasty indeed. Flak still active over here with plenty of infantry. Say they've lost about half of their manpower here. Little more than half. Center, it's looking okay. One pack still active. But do keep in mind, we've only gone through like the first Russian wave. So here comes the second one, speaking about waves. And this will constantly wear down the Russian defense. So thank you everyone for following me on Snapchat. I'm accepting a lot of video ideas and whatnot. So be sure to go over there. The username is DiplexHeated. I would appreciate you adding and, you know, throwing suggestions my ways, and if you're lucky, I'll pick it. Or if you're good at picking good battle ideas, then of course I'll pick it. Lots of infantry coming in now. For every wave, the Russians get closer and closer. Well, they have some nasty flaks and infantry up close to deal with. Pretty much all the infantry has been killed here, though. There's just a handful remaining. And he was shot back as well. So this MG, or this flak, is no longer operationable. Or operational. Operational. Not operationable. It's a made-up word. Hummel down, Hummel down. And this Tiger, it's still active. I saw a crew hatch open, and usually when you see crew hatches open, it means it's blown up from the inside. The shell has completely hit the inside and exploded, and then caused an overpressure, which has led to everything opening inside the tank, so to speak. Now the front center line is pretty much more or less completely destroyed. This pack is still fighting. It's still warring on, so to speak. And some of the infantry is still alive here. We have a squad leader sworn in to do his best to hold, and obviously he will not signal a retreat here for the front troops. So they're going to be holding it back. Ouch, that is problematic. I wasn't really accounting for that, but that's war for you, I guess. An HE shell creates a crater. A crater could cause problems for the train moving over. 2 craters is going to make it even worse. I did try and keep that in mind, which led me to not having any tanks go down the center and all that, but I did not think throughout all my test runs, no craters. So we'll see how that works out. The train might just have to be used and kept at a little bit of a distance. But there we go. That pack is finally shot down. I only wish that this tank would have done that earlier, or any other tank for that matter. Plenty of these T-34s have been destroyed. But look at all this infantry and armor moving in. It is just crazy. Flak back there, 88, starting to... That's probably the one that's been responsible for all the tank casualties on this side. And this gun over here is still active. Mortar down, and pretty much everyone else is, but they're fighting on. And we do have a Panzerfaust here, which is capable of knocking out some Russian armor, so that's very interesting indeed. German Tiger, still active. Look at all those MG42s. That is crazy. That is fantastic. Oh, direct hit. Must have destroyed another Russian tank. Damn, this is gruesome. I don't think there's anything I can do mid-game right now to kind of remove this crater. So we'll have to hope that it doesn't affect the train. If it does, I'm sorry. That's Men of War for you. Can't dictate, can't always have it your way. Man, that quad gun over there, though, is knocking a lot of Russian infantry back. Shooting them and turning them into little bits and pieces here. But how are we looking? More Russian armor coming in now. Probably will be followed by some more Russian infantry. But the infantry is doing well so far. They're definitely starting to control one side of the bridge. In fact, we do have a Russian infantry that has just arrived up here to the bridge. And they will start securing this now. So the Germans are going to start feeling the pressure now. They'll probably bust a little sweat any moment now. On this side, completely captured. But all the MG Fire and Tiger over here is going to just be pouring down on all that infantry. I mean, they're in good cover up here. Jeez. Well, they're going to need more armor support. Knock out that Tiger first. And talking about that, what a shot. That T-34 turned that Tiger into scraps. And if we have an explosion now, an internal... ooh, that could end very poorly for all the German defenders nearby. We'll see if that just cooks off or if it actually explodes internally. I'm going to keep my eye on it. It's going to set some of the nearby bushes on fire. Might end in a nasty explosion. If any of the ammunition or fuel, I think the German soldiers are lucky. This is a 50-50. Go either way. So the second that stops burning, I think we can rule out an explosion. But generally, when it cooks off like that, it's looking pretty bad. But I think the Germans are good for now. Whoa, bridge exploded. Crap. And there comes the armored train. It made it past the crater. It made it past it. I swear that is just a sign of luck. Because, God, we've been running into issues with that thing all the time before, or I have at least personally. I think here's where I need to take control of it and just kind of like roll it up personally like this. It does struggle a little bit on its own. And I understand that. You just got to give it a little help. There's something blocking it here. That crater might have destroyed the actual railroad tracks. We'll have to find out how it works. We'll watch this IS-2 or 1 or whatever it is. I think that's an IS-1. Move over the bridge. That is an IS-2. Shame on me. They started looking more peculiar and stuff when they got into the IS-3s and 4s. The 1s and 2 kind of looked a little bit similar. But no cook-off over here, which is very lucky for all the nearby German defenders. Has this train had a chance to act yet? Back howitzer firing away? No, it's not going to be able to cross. I'm going to do this thing. a solid and just kind of help it pull over the bad tracks over there. And yeah, I'm going to move that tank aside because let's let this railway bridge be made for what it's used for, and that train will move up now. Cool. That'll also make it a bigger target for all the German defenders. Quad gun over there opening up like crazy. I swear I get a lot of comments telling me how the Germans always win, the Germans always win, the Germans always win. Please, let's try and avoid the comments saying the Russians always win, the Russians always win. I'm just very excited, and I've been excited throughout this entire battle because it's been so uncertain. But it just might look like the Russians are going to pull this one through. It's been close, I'm telling you. I did not think the Russians were going to be able to secure this after looking at all the carnage and all the crazy stuff. But just one good hit from a T-34 and that Tiger is gone. And that Tiger, I tell you, would have kept destroying all those other Russian tanks. Well, it's pretty much entirely through. There's just some spread out German infantry remaining. I don't think it's going to be capable of stopping this train at all now. It's on a roll, and it's on a roll. It's going to keep going. Very cool indeed. More Russian infantry is moving across the bridge. Tanks are following up as well. Look at that on both sides. Sweet looking indeed. Oh, this train's gonna take a little side tour. Interesting. I wonder why. Oh, that's because the train director here has been turned to the right. Well, that doesn't hurt me at all. It's gonna keep going through. It's gonna choo its way to Berlin, I guess. Not because I have to say this, but I do to avoid any weird comments. But I've played this scenario out many times where the Russians have gotten beaten way earlier in way different ways, and I've seen multiple different results you do from kind of all the different testing sessions. That was a nice Panzerfaust shot. I wonder if it was enough to take it out. I think it wasn't. I think they're gonna need one more and a good one, but I'm afraid they've probably wasted all their shots or already used them, so I don't think we're gonna see any more. Look at these remaining soldiers here now beat. Ooh, one less guy with an MP40. Plenty of Russians coming up. This is just really close. Hand grenade being thrown. Look at this guy. Führen Elite, man. 1, 2. Oh, he killed several people before we're shot down. How's it looking on this side? All dead? Let's take a look at the minimap. Let's see, do we have any Germans remaining? Yeah, we have one. Kevin Lesser. Jäger. Mit ein Sturmgewehr. He's gonna run. He is running. And ain't no more running for Kevin. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let's take a look at casualties. The red are the... Let's make the red the Russians. Why not? You know, make it all work like that. And you can tell they've lost hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of men today. How many do they have alive? Hard to tell, but probably a good 50 people. 40 to 50, I'd say, are walking down over here right now. You know, they're all going to gather back there anyway, so we'll find out. I'm going to go ahead and delete this beautiful little locomotive, and we'll be able to count all the Russians afterwards. Only 3 tanks survived out of the, I'd say at least 3 times 15, 20 tanks. Well, that is cool as hell. And look at all the casualties. Can you dig it? Can you understand how many we're talking about here? Everywhere. There's not a single inch of soil where there's not been a Russian casualty. So that should tell the story as well. But with only about, not going to be 100% accurate here, but with only roughly 50 men remaining on the Russian side, yeah, pretty much. It's been an extremely, extremely close fight for them having over 500 men when this started. So, hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you guys soon again. Be sure to follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and Snapchat. Best way to communicate with me, using all 3 platforms. So, hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you guys soon again. Ciao.